After a 2-week hiatus from answering your questions, I'm back, and we're going to start today with Brenda. Brenda says she has a whole bunch of emails that she needs to save to a CD, and is that possible? You didn't tell me what program that you're using to retrieve your emails. If you're using Outlook Express, go to my website, helpmerick.com, search for Outlook Express Backup, and you'll find out how to do that. I would say most of the time when people want to save their email, they're thinking they need to save the pictures in their email. The best way to do that is, again, go to my website, helpmerick.com, search for Save Pictures from Email, and you're going to have a lot better success doing that. But depending on what program you're using, there's a whole myriad of ways that I can tell you to back up your email. Patrick sent me a follow-up question to a question he had a couple weeks ago about a Foxit document management, and he thought it might be similar to Google Docs or Zoho Docs. And I did look at the link. Thanks for sending it, Patrick. And this is specifically related to scanning and saving your documents as PDFs, and saving PDFs you might get on email, or uploading PDFs you have on your computer, and using their services to be able to manage and categorize and access all your Adobe Acrobat /PDF files. Papa writes in and says that when he uses Windows Recorder, he used to be able to record things from the web, speeches, articles, etc. Now it no longer records, and he doesn't get anything. I don't know exactly which direction to take you. If it was working before, if you can find a date where it was working properly, your best bet might be to use System Restore and restore your computer back to that time, and then look at everything that happened between those two times, and it could be a Windows update or some other update that triggered the change in your ability to record the video. The next thing I would look for is see if there's any changes in your audio card settings that you may have made that have prevented you from doing that as well. But that's the best advice I can give you regarding your problem. John has basically built himself a new computer and has a problem that when he tries to shut his computer off, it restarts instead of shutting down. More than likely your problem's with the BIOS. If you can't see any changes to make in the BIOS, you're going to probably have to resort to the hardware experts. And when I have a hardware problem, what I do, John, is I refer people, or I go myself, to tomshardware.com, where you can put in all the specs of the problems you're having, and let the folks there at Tom's Hardware, who deal only with hardware, help you solve your problem. We have an Ubuntu question here from Bruce, and Bruce is trying to use Thunderbird, but when he wants to forward an email to someone, he doesn't know how to clean it all up because it's not able to give him, it's not showing all that previous email. And what you're doing is when you're using any of the Netscape / Mozilla products, which Thunderbird is one of those products or a derivative of, you're going to find there's two ways to forward emails. One is to attach the email as an attachment, or do what they call forward inline. And what you want to do is go into the tools and options, and under the options go to sending, or creating or formatting your emails, and there's going to be an option for forwarding email, and you want to check the box that says forward in line instead of the forward as attachment. And then you'll be able to see the previous message and make the adjustments that you want to make. Lawrence has a new puppy and wants to share some home videos and pictures, but he says the videos of the new puppy are too large and he wants to know what he should do. You can do a couple of things. One is YouTube, what we're using right now to answer your questions. YouTube.com allows you to make a free account and upload videos up to 10 minutes in length is the maximum for the free accounts, or I believe it's 100 megabytes per video. And it takes a little while to upload full-fledged digital video, but if you reduce the video a little bit, it'll go up fairly quickly on a high-speed connection, and that's probably the easiest way to send video. Dick has a question about updating from AVG 8 to AVG 8.5. He's getting a prompt that says that there's another installed virus program on his computer, and I think it's probably referring to 8.0. is what you're probably seeing, Dick. You can do one of two things. Make sure you go to my website, helpmerick.com, follow all the directions I have there on upgrading to 8.5, and you can also, if you want to give it a try, uninstall AVG 8 first, and then try to install the AVG 8.5 afterwards. Amy has installed a new sound card and is wondering how to get the computer to recognize that sound card. Amy, the first thing I'd ask is go to the Device Manager. You can get to the Device Manager by right-clicking My Computer or if you're using Windows Vista, just the computer icon, go to Properties, and then under Properties, you're going to be able to find the Device Manager, and in the Device Manager, you'll get a list of all the hardware on your system, and you can look through there and see, does that sound card show up as an unrecognized device? And if you see that it's an unrecognized device, then you can use the CD that came with your sound card to install the drivers and then continue on. Now also, depending on whether or not if you have a previous sound card that was built onto the motherboard, you might have to shut the computer off, turn it back on, look how to get into what's known as the BIOS. And the BIOS is the very first thing you see when you turn your computer on. Sometimes it's called setup or system setup, and you might have to disable the onboard audio in order for the new audio system, the new audio card, to be able to be utilized. John, your son is correct. There are some programs that will not run on a 64-bit Windows, and it behooves you to do the research ahead of time to figure out whether or not the programs you use can function under a 64-bit Windows. Some can, some can't. Maul has a question about AVG 8.5. 8.5 came out about a month ago, and a lot of people were getting screens telling them they needed to upgrade by April the 30th. And AVG likes for people to be on the new, most current version of AVG, and they try to force you into that timeline. But rest assured, your 8.0 will continue to work for at least a year. The 7.5, which is almost a year and a half, almost 2 years old, is still working for some of my clients. So don't get too worried about the date part of it, but if you follow the directions on my website, it will help you do either an upgrade or a fresh install. Both the instructions do the same either way, depending on whether you have the old version still installed on your computer. Howard writes in with our second Ubuntu question of the day. I'm glad a lot of people are out there using Ubuntu, and he's wondering, does it have a firewall built into it, and if so, does he need it, and how to use it? And you can get all the information you need, Howard, and there is a firewall built into Ubuntu 9.04, the new version, and go to this address. And this address will give you all the information you need to know on how to use the firewall. Now, whether you need one or not, I think depends on if you're using a router. If you're using a router with your high-speed internet, the router acts as a sort of a hardware firewall, and I don't truly believe you need another software firewall on top of that. If you want to be extra safe, go ahead and enable and use the Ubuntu firewall that comes with the installation. Hello, Ted. Thanks for writing in with your question. I have a solution which should work for your particular problem by going to my website, helpmerick.com, and search for wallpaper. If you just search for wallpaper on my website, you'll find the solution to what you're having a problem with. And also at helpmerick.com, after you search for wallpaper, try that solution. Because your problem is a result of spyware, go to any page on the website, scroll down to the very right-hand side column, and you're going to find a section that says Security. And if you run this Combo Fix tool here and or the Malwarebytes, those things will also help clear out some of the problems you had with the spyware and get you back on track. Jose is using Firefox and did an update, and Jose seems to have lost what's called the navigation toolbar. Is what you lost, Jose. Just go to View in Firefox, and under View, go to Toolbars, and under Toolbars, make sure that Navigation Toolbar is checked, and you will get your back and your forward and your home and your other buttons showing up on your Firefox. Well, thanks for writing, everyone. I'll be back again next week with more of your questions and my answers.